Apollo 11, Apollo 11. This is Houston, over.
Morning, Houston. Apollo 11.
Roger, Apollo 11. Good morning.
Apollo 11 is now going out of the passive thermal control mode, in which it was slowly rotating to maintain thermal balance, getting set up for the P-23 activities. That's the mid-course navigation. Capcom Bruce McCandless is passing up some changes in the procedures for this navigational operation. The ignition time for this mid-course correction will be 26 hours, 44 minutes, 57 seconds, about 44 minutes from now. It will be a service propulsion system maneuver. Duration of the burn will be 3 seconds. This should reduce the pericynthion of Apollo 11's trajectory from the present 175 nautical miles to 60 nautical miles. 1 minute to the burn. Burning. Shut down.
Houston, burn complete. Are you copying our residuals?
Affirmative.
One of the clocks in the control center is now displaying the time to landing. It shows we're 73 hours, 26 minutes, 30 seconds from the lunar landing.
This is Apollo Control at 36 hours, 11 minutes. We received a status report from Buzz Aldrin. This is similar to the crew status report that we received from them last night. We bid them good night at 36 hours, 12 minutes into the flight of Apollo 11. This is Mission Control, Houston.
This is Apollo Control at 48 hours, 9 minutes. We've just put in a call to the crew. Here's that conversation.
Apollo 11, Apollo 11. This is Houston, over.
Good morning, Houston. Apollo 11.
Good morning, Apollo 11. As far as we can tell, everything is good from down here, over.
Roger.
Houston, roger, out.
11, Houston, we have a little update for you. When you go into the limb, we'd like you to unstow and bring back to the command module the mission rules, no-go card, the DIPS, apps, RCS limit cue card. Over.
This is Apollo Control at 61 hours, 39 minutes. We've had no further conversation with the crew since our last report. Flight surgeon says we expect they'll be getting to sleep here shortly. Coming up in less than 10 seconds now, we'll be crossing into the sphere of influence of the moon at 61 hours, 41 minutes. This is Apollo Control, Houston.
Go ahead.
LOI-1, SPS, GNN. GET ignition, 075, 49er, 49er65. Roll, 358. Pitch, 226. Section star, 31. Read back, over.
That was the lunar orbit insertion burn number 1 pad. The ignition time for that burn, that's 2 hours, 57 minutes, 49 seconds from this time. Duration of that burn, 6 minutes, 2 seconds. The retrograde and the change in velocity, 2,917.3 feet per second. The expected orbit following that maneuver is 169.2 by 61 nautical miles. We will lose signal with Apollo 11 as it goes behind the moon.
Apollo 11, this is Houston, over.
Roger, go ahead, Houston. Apollo 11.
11, this is Houston. You are go for LOI, over.
Roger, go for LOI.
And we're showing about 10 minutes and 30 seconds to LOS. I would like to remind you to enable the BD roll on the auto RCS switches, over.
Roger.
That was Buzz Aldrin confirming the go. We're 3 minutes away from loss of signal. Apollo 11 is 425 nautical miles from the moon. Velocity 7,368 feet per second. Weight 96,012 pounds.
Apollo 11, this is Houston. All your systems are looking good going around the corner. We'll see you on the other side. Over.
Roger. Everything looks okay up here.
Roger out.
And we've had loss of signal as Apollo 11 goes behind the moon. This is Apollo Control. It's 75 hours, 49 minutes. Apollo 11 should have started this long burn. Duration 6 minutes, 2 seconds. Delta V 2,917 feet per second. Given that burn, we expect an orbit of 61 by 169.2 nautical miles.
Mark, 2 minutes now from time of predicted acquisition in Mission Control Center. We are standing by.
Telemetry indicates that the crew is working on the antenna angles to bring the high gain antenna to bear.
Mark, 1 minute now from time of predicted acquisition. Continuing to stand by in Mission Control Center, Houston.
Apollo 11, this is Houston. How do you read?
Reading you loud and clear, Houston. How are you?
Roger, reading you the same now. Could you repeat your burn status report? We copied the residuals and burn time, and that was about it. Send the whole thing again, please.
It was right perfect. Sure. Delta tick 0, burn time 557. CAD values on the angles, VGX minus 0.1, VGY minus 0.1, VGZ plus.
This is Apollo Control. That burn report was by Neil Armstrong. We're showing spacecraft weight in lunar orbit, 72,004 pounds.
We ran an increase on the pugs, now to 44, showed us 60.9 by 169.9.
Roger, we copy your burn status report, and the spacecraft is looking good to us on telemetry. Apollo 11, this is Houston. A little over 2 minutes to LOS. We have AOS on the other side at 78.23.31. Over.
This is Apollo Control. We've had loss of signal on its first lunar revolution. We will acquire the spacecraft 78 hours, 23 minutes, 31 seconds. The orbital period for Apollo 11's present orbit, 2 hours, 8 minutes, 37 seconds. We passed up to the crew information that we would perform the LOI-2 burn using only Bank A.
Mark, 1 minute now from time of predicted acquisition. Continuing to stand by in Mission Control Center, Houston.
Apollo 11, this is Houston. Over.
Apollo 11, are you picking up our signal? Okay.
Apollo 11, this is Houston. Affirmative. We're reading you loud and clear on voice. And if you could give us poo and accept, we'll uplink a new state vector and target load to you.
Okay.
LOI-2, SPS GNN 38320 plus 166.
This is Apollo Control Houston at 79 hours, 9 minutes, now into the flight of Apollo 11. Those listing of figures that you heard passed up to the crew were maneuver pad updates. The first group for LOI-2, we're now looking at a time of burn of 80 hours, 11 minutes, 36 seconds, a delta V of 159.2 feet per second, and burn duration of 17 seconds, some 17 seconds. So at 79 hours, 9 minutes into the flight of Apollo 11, continuing to monitor, this is Apollo Control Houston.
00537. Delta VT 01592. 017 01531.
Mark, 1 minute until planned time of ignition for LOI-2. The burn is of short duration, as we have indicated earlier, some 17 seconds of burn time anticipated. We're standing by in Mission Control Center, relatively quiet. Mark 30 seconds. Continuing to monitor or read those displays that gave us our final readout prior to our passage to the backside of the moon. Mark 10 seconds. Mark 5 seconds. We won't know for sure how the burn comes out until we reacquire. Mark planned time for ignition. At 80 hours, 12 minutes now to the flight of Apollo 11. This is Apollo Control, Houston. Mark 1 minute from predicted time of acquisition, and we're standing by. Both Goldstone and Hawaii have acquired a signal.
Apollo 11, Houston, we're standing by. Over.
Roger. VGY minus 0.0. VGZ minus 0.0.
You heard that report from Commander Neil Armstrong indicating that LOI-2 came off almost precisely as planned.
4 by 54.4. Go ahead.
This is Apollo Control, Houston, at 87 hours, 31 minutes, now into the flight Apollo 11. The Apollo 11 spacecraft continues on its front side pass above the moon. We're now less than 10 minutes away from loss of signal. The Apollo 11 crew are currently in their rest period. This will be the final sleep period for the crew prior to landing on the lunar surface and returning. The next scheduled rest period will in fact take place on the surface of the moon. It is now July 20, the day scheduled for lunar landing. So at 87 hours, 33 minutes, we will continue to stand by in the event we have any conversation with the crew. This is Apollo Control, Houston.